talk about short-term memory, we talk about the serial position effect. The serial position effect really refers to how you can recall or how accurately you recall an item by its position. And so if I give you a list of information, where the information is on the list impacts how you're going to remember and what you're going to remember. And so if I give you a grocery list and there are 10 items on that list, you'll remember the information at the beginning of the list, so remember the information at the end of the list, but the items in the middle you'll have more trouble recalling. And that's because of the recency and primacy effect. So the primacy effect talks about how items at the beginning of the list are easier to remember. And this is because people are able to rehearse them. So if I say apples, oranges, bananas, you have time to rehearse those to be able to recall them at a future time. And then recency effect is at the end of the list. So the most recent thing that you heard is easier to recall because you just heard it. It's in your short-term memory. It's right there. I can recall that very quickly. And that's why you can remember the beginning of your list and the end of your list. And when you're in the middle of the story, you can't remember what in the world the items in the middle of your list were. And that's because of how they are placed on your list. Now, we can impact the recency effect and the primacy effect through different tasks. And so the primacy effect can be reduced when I give you the list very quickly. So if I say apple, pears, bananas, grapes, you didn't have a lot of time to rehearse that, and so that impacts the primacy effect. Also, and so that will impact whether you can recall the information. If I say in a slow manner, so apples, pears, bananas, grapes, then you have time to rehearse those and be able to recall them. The recency is reduced by an example like the Brown-Peterson task, is where people are given another job to do that interrupts the short-term memory for that last bit of information. So if I give you those 3 letters and then I give you a task to do, it's more challenging for you to remember those 3 letters, even though it's only 3 letters and you just heard them. But that interruption and being able to rehearse that interruption and being able to recall those last few bits of information will impact whether you can recall the information at all, or how accurately you can recall information. We do put this into practical use. People such as lawyers will use this information. So the primacy effect, the first bit of information they give you about their case is what they want you to remember it. They give you it first so you can rehearse it throughout the trial, so you can remember it when you go in to deliberate. That's the most important thing they want you to remember. It's the first thing they talk about. And then the recency effect happens in their closing arguments. The last thing they say to you is what they want you to be able to recall once you go in to deliberate. And so they use both of these different processes to be able to help the jury see the case the way they want them to see it. And so this has some very practical applications. This also can occur in lectures. Information that is more challenging to remember is often placed at the beginning of the lecture. Why? Because students are alert and they're attentive in the beginning of the lecture, so there's the first thing. The second thing is that they have the ability to rehearse it. So throughout their lecture, you're remembering this information, you're rehearsing this information as you're going through the lecture. And then the recency part would be the medium difficulty level. It would be placed at the end of the lecture. And so that part you just heard, and so it's easier to recall and easier to think about because it's right there at the end. And then the easy part of the lecture, the material that's easier to remember, will be placed in the middle because chances are some students are going to forget this information, but also if it's easy to learn, it's something that they can read about again on their own at home, and that way it's it's easy to quote-unquote teach yourself or remind yourself of this information. And so that difficult part comes at the beginning, the medium difficulty part is at the end, and then the easy information is in the middle, just to help students learn the information and be able to rehearse and recall it for future use. And so there are some different ways that we use the serial position effect to help learn and retain information.